Ever paid attention to the load bearing pillars of a building? You may not even have noticed it. However, the entire building and its structure is being held up by these load bearing pillars. You could call them building blocks, literally. Similarly, a hotel revenue has building blocks too. These building blocks are known as market segments. In earlier videos, you saw a little bit of what market segments are about. In this video, you will see all about market segments and how they are indispensable in the revenue generation process of a hotel. Market segments impact both occupancy and average daily rate, which are the two major contributories to a hotel revenue, particularly room revenue. Before we actually look at what kinds of market segments there are and what role they play in the revenue generation process, let's revisit a couple of the portions of the hotel occupancy rate and the average daily rate videos earlier. We'll come back to the market segment in terms of revenue generation after that. Let's now dive into the market segments and what types of market segments there are in the hotel industry. As you can see, two major categories of market segments are individual and group, which we saw earlier in the hotel occupancy rate and the average daily rate videos. Let's take the individual market segment because it's a significant portion of the hotel revenue for most hotels. The first type of market segment is known as a negotiated market segment. Negotiated market segments are actually corporate contracts with major corporations. You can see here there is a corporate A and a corporate B. So what could corporate A and B be? Well, corporate A generally tends to be a less discounted negotiated rate. Most negotiated rates are discounted, by the way. A corporate A could have, let's say, a 25% discount from the original rack rate for a particular room type that has been agreed upon with the major corporation. Corporate B, on the other hand, could be a even more heavily discounted, as opposed to corporate A of 15 to 20% or 25%. Corporate B could be 25 to 30%. You also will notice that in the month of February, if you just take a month as an indication, the corporate B room nights are higher than the corporate A. Obviously, when you discount your rack rate more, you are likely to attract more room nights, but not all the time. The third type of negotiated rate is the crew rate. These are the rates given to airlines for their crew who could be checking in and checking out of the hotel. And that is another part of the negotiated market segments. So together with corporate A, B, and crew consist of the total negotiated, and the total negotiated market segments you can see contribute to 1,120 room nights for the month of February. Let's get into the second of the market segments under individual, which is transient. Transient simply means temporary. These are room stays which can be 2 nights, 3 nights at the most. And the three categories we will be visiting will begin with best available rate. Every day, the yield management system of any hotel revenue management software will throw up what is known as a best available rate. This is based on the forecast occupancy over the next week or the next 2 weeks, and where the occupancy of the hotel is, let's say, running only at 50 to 60%. So the best available rate is actually a rate for a particular room type, which is discounted up to 30, sometimes 50% in order to fill up the hotel. The best available rate is part of the individual market segment, as we see here. You also notice that the best available rate contributes to about 420 room nights for the Paradise Hotel. The next type of transient room night is a walk-in. A walk-in is simply somebody who hasn't made a booking and just comes to the hotel because they either Google searched it, they found the hotel, they're closer to the location they want, all kinds of elements. So walk-ins are also another market segment or part of the individual market segment that contributes to room nights. And you can see here the walk-ins contribute to 140 room nights. The last of the transient market segments are the packages. Packages are actually offered to ensure that the hotel can increase its occupancy. And packages a lot of times throw in a breakfast, or if the hotel has a spa, it can have a spa treatment thrown in. And packages are generally used in the lean months. As you notice in February, which is a lean month, packages contribute a huge chunk of the market segments. In fact, the packages are higher than even the corporate A and corporate B, as you can see, because the whole purpose of the packages is to fill up the hotel. Considering that it's a lean month where the hotel is running 60% occupancy or 66%, it's important that the hotel is able to increase its occupancy, and packages help in doing that. The last of the individual market segments are direct market segment. These are mainly incentives for booking, rate, loyalty programs, and lots of times these are referrals made. The total of all the individual market segments that we just saw and the categories therein total up to 2,408 room nights. We will see how much the contribution is to the total room nights achieved. Let's get into the group market segment. The group market segment first category is meetings and incentives. Meetings and incentives, where the hotel has function rooms, are basically market segments that add to the individual market segment by way of small meetings, maybe 15 to 20 in a function room, and then they can be incentives too. Incentives are kind of smaller chunks of groups that come in for a specific purpose. The second category is the association convention. The convention is, of course, the bigger part of the group market segment. If the hotel has a huge ballroom, conventions will play a big part because they will contribute to the market segments. In this particular case, you can see that the associations and conventions contribute to 140 room nights, while meetings and incentives contributed only about 56. The third category under group is known as the wholesale group. These are normally travel agents, tour operators who bring in smaller groups, and mostly this is again to boost the occupancy of the hotel, particularly in a lean month. And the one we are looking at, February, is a lean month. So the tour operators, they can contribute another 168 room nights. As you can see, the total group room nights contribution through market segments is 364 compared to 2,408 individual market segment. So individual market segment is almost about 85 to 90% of the total room nights. If you remember, in the first two videos, we saw how total occupied room nights was 2,772 compared to 4,200 for the month of February, which resulted in a 66% occupancy. And that's why it's considered a lean month. So again, to emphasize the powerful role that market segments, which are building blocks of revenue, play a part in contributing to the hotel room revenue. In particular, market segments during lean, standard, or peak months play different roles. In the case of a peak month, the strategy would be to maximize average daily rate. So room rates could be higher, discounts could be lower. In lean months, on the other hand, as we saw earlier, packages are used, a best available rate may be used in order to augment occupancy, that is to boost occupancy in a way. So market segments actually play a different role depending on what kind of month the hotel is currently going through. If you like this video, consider subscribing to the Profits Masterclass channel for future videos in this series as well as others straight to your inbox. And why? Because you will get exclusive insights that will give you an edge over your peers. You would want that, right?